Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about sizing, generally speaking, for shoes. And I'm going to divide the video in segments. If you want to know a specific brand I will talk about, you can see them down in the description. Or if you just want to see certain part of the video, you can just go to them directly. And another disclaimer, these are my personal experiences, these various brands. I will always suggest you to go to your local sneaker shop and to try the shoe on before purchasing them. I mean, if you don't really have the means to do that, this sizing guide will mostly help you to decide which size to buy. With that being said, let's start by taking the measurement of your feet. So, place a sheet of paper on the floor against the wall. Put your foot on it and trace the outline of it. Then you measure the distance between the heel and your toe, and then you translate this measure into your sizing. I mostly suggest you to do this at the end of the day because your feet will be the most swollen, and do the same thing for both feet if you don't know which one of your feet is bigger. Another very important thing you have to measure is the width of the shoe, the wideness, because even though you can be a 9 in length or a 42 and a half U. If you have a very wide feet, it can be a problem because you will find shoe brands and shoe that will fit you fine, being fine lengthwise. But the exact moment we will start walking around with them, you're going to hurt your feet so much, and that will cause a lot of blisters. So be aware of that. And my wideness of my biggest foot is around a little more than 10 centimeters. So I have slightly wider feet, or at least this foot is slightly wider than the standard. So I have to consider that when I buy shoes. Also, another thing you have to consider is the shape of your shoe, because there are some shoes that are anatomically shaped, which are not really nice to look at, but those are mostly the best for you if you have wide feet. If you have narrow feet, you can also have some problem with sizing, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But still, let's get straight into it. Starting with our fan favorite Nike. Nike usually fit very narrow, very narrow shaped shoes. And if you don't believe me, and I know that I have a double D, so slightly wider feet than normal. But for example, these are my Martiarts, and these are way wider than these Sakai's. These are both size 9, and I always get home with this with some blister. For example, because I did quite a bit of skate in my life, I usually buy Dunks half a size bigger because they are very narrow. And half a size bigger for me means a 9.5, and this fits me perfectly fine. For example, if I take out the insole, you can see that I use almost every bit of space of insole of these shoes. And if you compare that to my sketch of my feet, it almost aligns perfectly. Still, the length of this shoe is not the same as the length of my feet, but as I told you before, it's almost most important the wideness of the shoe. From what I've seen in the past years, Nike doesn't really make wide foot friendly shoes. There are some Jordan models that are wide foot friendly, but those are rare in sports. And I always suggest you to go half a size up with Nikes, also because half a size up with Nikes is not that much of a difference if you compare that to other brands. So if you have a narrow to standard fit, go through size with Nike. If you have slightly wider fit than normal to wide fit in general, just go half a size up, you won't regret it. Another fan favorite, not really, but for some it is Adidas. Adidas fits almost always through size. Adidas makes very wide foot friendly shoes. For example, these are my Gazelle Benitos collaboration with Bad Bunny, and these are a 9 US. These Adidas Zero are a 9 US. I have a pair of Superstars that are also a 9 US. and I have slightly wider foot, but I have also a friend which has an E to WE wideness of feet in a 44 EU, so I guess a 10 US, and he just buy Adidas in their true size. Attention, I mean Adidas, not Yeezy. Adidas Yeezy collaboration always fits very weirdly, and my only suggestion for everybody, from narrow to wide fit, is always going half a size up. Always. Even a full size up, but always go half a size up with the Yeezys, because they fit from half to one whole size smaller than what they advertise. And that's all for Adidas. New Balance has the same problem of Nike. For example, the 9060 is very wide, so you can go through size with that if you have wide feet. But mostly, but most of the running shoe, which are the one that I'm most experienced with, run very, very narrow. So I just suggest you to go half a size up in New Balances, unless you find them in the wide version of the shoe, and then you can just buy the wide version, which is the perfect option. The same problem can be found in Hoka's, On, Pumas, Crocs, Lacoste, Diadora, Timberlands, all of these brands that I've tried, and especially Asics. These brands are not very wide foot friendly. I strongly suggest you to always go half a size up, and you will not feel any pain doing that. If you have standard fit to narrow fit, just go with your true size and you're good to go. And your true size, as I told you, is found by measuring the sheet of paper I told you before. So this is mostly it for sportswear. Some lifestyle to skating brands. For example, I'm going to talk about mostly Converse and Vans. They run true size almost perfectly. If you have very narrow feet, I suggest you to go half a size down with Converse. For example, if you are a 9 and you have narrow feet to standard feet, go half a size down, so go with a 8.5, so from 42.5 to 42, because Converse are much longer and wider in their true size in comparison to other brands. So trust me, just go half a size down. The same thing can be applied to Vans, but I will strongly suggest you to always go through size in Vans for skating reasons. If you just use them as a lifestyle sneaker, go with your true size. Talking about high fashion sneaker, this is a Marcel, but I also had a pair of laced, I guess, Tom Ford of Gucci, I don't remember. Those were pretty old. And high fashion brands do fit a alpha size bigger than what you're used to. For example, this Marcel is a 42 and they fit me perfectly. And remember, I am a 42.5 and they are perfect. I think the most crucial example are the Gucci Aces and the whole Balenciaga line. So I tested a lot of Balenciaga shoes. I'm mostly talking about the Balenciaga Trek. If you are a 9, so a 42.5, you should go with a 42, so a 8.5, because they will fit you perfectly. High fashion brands always makes bigger shoes than what they advertise, because sometimes they don't have half sizes. I think you never seen a half a size Balenciaga shoes. They always go from size to size, so 42, 43, 44, and if you are a 42.5, just go with a 42. No brainer here. If you are a 42 but you have a narrow foot, go with a wall size down, a 41. And this is valid for every fashion brand I've tested so far. So I'm talking about Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, Marcel, Fendi, Bottega, Versace, and yeah, just go half a size down. And if you have narrow feet, go a wall size down, and that's mostly it. If you have wide feet with high fashion brands, go through size, and as I stated before, half a size down if you are in between sizes. So yeah, that was it. And I think I covered a lot of sneaker brands. So yeah, if you have any question about some brand in particular, or just want to hate me because I suggested you wrong, write your angry comments down in the comments, and I'll reply to all of you. And as stated before, this is my own personal experience with these brands, and I hope you will find this guide helpful. Still, if you have the chance, try at least the same brand on before purchasing them online. For example, there is no difference between a Dunk and a Jordan one, and also a lot of other Jordans, honestly. But other than that, yeah, try the shoes on. Maybe ask a friend who is your same size just before buying them. Yeah, that was it. Enjoy.